News stories were coming in about this strange virus in Wuhan, China. It was weeks before we saw the first cases in the US. As the numbers went up each day, my curiosity got the best of me, and I started plotting the curves. Here's stories from real people all over the world and how they've responded. I'm Sally Hendrick, founder of Shout Your Cause, and this is COVID-19, The World Responds. Hello, Veronica Jeans. This is Sally. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely bloody marvelous.
Bloody marvelous. I love it. Well, it was great seeing you earlier this year. I saw you in early March in San Diego at the Social Media Marketing World Conference.
It was marvelous, right?
It was marvelous. And it was also so early in this COVID-19 game that they really, the only thing we were doing was getting hand sanitizer at every entry, but people were still hugging and talking, and we didn't really know what was going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it only just a month, maybe a month later? It started a month later, right?
Well,
sort of seriously.
The cases were starting, and there was actually the first death while we were in San Diego, but that was the first. I mean, so it was as far as like the buzz and the talk and the responses that were happening. It was really not until mid-March when it was kind of like, oh, maybe we should pay attention. And then by the end of March, a little bit of chaos going on.
Yeah. Because I had my birthday on the boat by myself, or with my husband. So yes, exactly. Yes. And it's funny, so we had all this marketing information and cool tips, and we're now in such a different situation that some of that stuff doesn't work, right? So some of the stuff works, some of the stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's very, very interesting. And so I've been chatting to people as well about, how they're pivoting their businesses. And that's the most interesting thing, is that people are hopefully doing things differently, right?
So speaking of business, give us a little background on what you do, and because you and I dabble in a similar space, but we've got very different types of clients.
Yes. So mine are all about e-commerce. So I'm totally niche e-commerce, and I'm even more niche than that, and I do only with Shopify. And I have clients in BigCommerce and Magento, but I'm always moving them along.
Moving them over to Shopify.
So, yes, moving them over to Shopify. I have yet to see a client that was not happy with it. But and some of them can't move, or it's too much of a big transition. But it's just building that business on your online business. And I've retail clients, so there's point of sale and hardware, and I love hardware. Oh my Lord, nothing ever goes right with hardware. But so yes, and then so building up their businesses and then trying to get sales. Now that's what we're all doing, trying to get sales, trying to get more clients.
So as far as getting sales, what industries or what types of products do you feel like are still okay out there? And what about your clients that aren't doing okay right now? What's happening?
Well, it seems like toilet paper is still, I had to mention it. I still don't understand the toilet paper fiasco, but you know what? And here's the thing is, I have yet to have a client that is not doing well.
Oh,
and
good.
Even and it's so diverse, from skincare to puzzles to actually industrial. We haven't properly launched, but we're still getting sales. And then who else is there? Sports, they're doing well, except the school sports, but they're also getting sales, which is really, you would think that school sports equipment like hockey and stuff, it would be dead. They're still getting sales on Amazon. And so we've just relaunched their store. So that's going to be an interesting transition to see what's going to happen, because, the schools are not opening up now. And
right.
So yeah, so they have to think outside the box. So we've been thinking about ways of actually what can they do to still entertain their clients, right? What can they do to still make sales?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about teenage girls, and obviously coaches, but teenage girls mainly. And I said, just create a competition between the teams, to design the best T-shirt or something like that. Get the girls involved so that they get that team thing going. And so every single business has been a little bit different of, okay, so how can we do? And so one of the big things was, and this is a huge change. A lot of retail stores where, I'm online, but it's not so important. I'm getting a lot of sales in my store,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. And it's been that switch that everybody is going online, getting things going, and really concentrating on the e-commerce part rather than the retail, because
Yeah,
I mean
the
up to
retail in the
now
store.
it's not going to work. I think that's going to be the biggest change in e-commerce, is it's going up because everybody has to be online. I've been saying that for
agree
years.
with you. I feel like there's been this slow uptick into the e-commerce for a while. But yeah, right now it's about to hit this whole new level. And then just keep going, because the same thing has happened to me. All of a sudden, people who have fitness studios, or maybe they have a client here and there online that they deal with, but then suddenly they're like, oh, I need a membership. Oh, I need a course. Oh, I've been working on this thing over here, and I've never put the effort into the marketing side of it. And so they've been knocking on my door on that regard.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and that's the last thing you want to do is take away your marketing. I mean, large companies mainly, that's what the first thing they do is dumb down on the marketing. But as a small company, you have to literally step up your marketing, because you have to be in front of your customers, and you can't sell. You can't just sell. It's not about selling anymore. It's about relationships. And I mean, we talk about relationships for years, right? And now it's even more important about relationships. And I think, I've trying to get that brand awareness as well online, because not a lot of people can do the schmoozing online, right? Because they have an e-commerce store, and then they like to be behind the scenes. I don't want to be so personal, it's too much personal stuff. And I go, now you got to push that personal stuff, baby. They have to get to know you, right? I mean, these people have to feel like they get to know you. Because, so I had a friend, it was spam, unfortunately, Shopify store, but I mean, it'll probably in any of the other shopping platforms as well. She bought this hardware, whatever it was, but it was $90 in the store, and it was $300 on Amazon, which already there's a ding, 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 right? There's something wrong here. And so, and it was spam. They took the money, closed the store, and moved on. So,
it wasn't even real. It was just a scam, a total scam.
So this is important to be personal. This is important to get your information on your about page and tell your story, and the telephone number. There's that little thing like telephone number in your email, People just, people are going to call me. No, they're not.
No, they're not. No.
I'm more comfortable texting you or chatting with you than calling you up, right?
Yeah. So as far as getting people to realize that they've got to have some brand awareness, and that this is the reality TV generation we're dealing with these days, what's the best piece of advice that you can give an e-commerce store owner about making that happen? What are like a couple of things they could do?
Well, one of the biggest things I think they can do is have a thank you video on their thank you page. Just natural, the wall behind you, and say, thank you very much for shopping with us. Personal video, okay? 2, they can actually have more behind the scenes, right? getting to know the
Videos
customer.
and blog posts and things like that.
Videos, right? Blog posts. Blog posts are so important because you want to get customers to come to your store. But so how they're going to get to know you instead of just looking at your products, they get to know you by your stories, right? By your information that you're going to give. And then so think about how, and not everybody's comfortable in front of the camera. So think about how can you give them. So one of my lingerie ladies, she actually made a video of how to clean out your closet, right? And we all need that, right? We all got old lingerie that we never use. We someday going to fit into, right? But so, right.
I've given up on that.
This I bought when I was 20, right? So anyways, I'm going to be thin again. But anyway, so she just made a little video, a little handheld video with her phone about cleaning out her closet. Brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Another one of my clients did he sells these mats, and I haven't got one in front of me, but they're knotted mats, right? So I said to him, do a behind the scenes. So what he did is he put the mat down and he took his cup and he went, this is how you use the mat. Put the cup down, took the cup off the mat and says, do I have to show this to you again? He had the best engagement on that stupid video, right?
Oh my goodness. I've got a client who he's blind. And so it's been a challenge for me because the way that I teach him, it has to be so different than the way I teach other people. He's made his own website. He's done all these things. I mean, he is amazing. He gets these little, I don't know, some sort of sound that he gets. And he also, if he knows what keyword to search within a piece of software, he can find things and then do what needs to be done. And so, but when it comes to Facebook ads, oh my gosh, it's really hard because that system is so big and clunky. And so it's really, he doesn't know what to look for. So when I get on with him, he's doing all these things. But anyway, he is a coach who helps people to crush their mental blocks, to get over their nightmares, to get over these situations in life, anxiety, whatever. And he has this really creative way of thinking about things. And of course he does, because he's blind. He has this innate talent to be able to see things from a completely different perspective.
Absolutely.
Not see, but you know what I mean. And so I was talking to him about, I was like, you really need to tell some of these stories. Whenever we have our group calls, the stories that you tell us, we all just go, wow, that's interesting. I like the way that you said that. You're kind of a funny guy, and so I'm like, you need to be telling these stories. So he goes to get his camera set up. And he puts on a shirt or whatever. And I told him, I said, now, whatever you've got on that back wall, and of course, I can't really say anything. I haven't really fixed anything here lately. But I'm like, that thing you've got on the back wall, it looks kind of weird. And your angle on your camera is not right. Don't go from the belt up. Come from here up. And, and so his girlfriend helped him get all that situated. And so he gets online and I said, just come in here and practice and show us different shirt colors and all that. Because that one you did last time just blended right into the wall and we couldn't even see your shirt. It was weird. And so, and he doesn't see those visual things. So he doesn't get it. But we're telling him what to do. And finally he comes in and he does this really hilarious video. And every time it would switch to the same guy, he wears his little dark glasses, but it would be a different color shirt, but it was the exact same pattern shirt. He probably has 10 of them in that color, in different colors. And so he just kept doing it and the shirt color kept changing. And he goes, well, what about this one? And I was like, we're using that one in your marketing because that video is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. And that's what we're going to do. Absolutely. I mean, they come up with this, you have to, and my cousin said to me yesterday, it's business unusual. He's got a show in Namibia that they're calling business unusual, which I think is brilliant. He says, not just normal, think outside the box. You got to think unusual about your business, which I totally agree with. We normally say, you got to think outside the box, He says, this is way beyond the box right now. So Beyond the box.
I know, right? This is beyond the box.
That's another good name.
It's coming out. You have to start thinking, okay. And, people are giving stuff away. And I think, you can't always give things away. Everybody has to survive,
Yeah.
And you can't always expect everything for free because, again, we're all trying to make money.
Yeah.
So you have to just expect to pay a little bit at least, but be in as I said, in courses and stuff. I love courses, and because you're always learning, you're always doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what I was going to say, but anyway, it was very good.
Yeah, but the whole outside the box and doing things differently.
Yes,
so, okay,
exactly.
So, this show is COVID-19, The World Responds, which is under the Shout Your Cause name, which is one of the arms of my business.
Yes.
And when I first started it, I was like, there's got to be some sort of nonprofit in here. There's got to be something where causes and ideas and other things that I personally care about could be shared through that. And then I could help people with the advertising, maybe, collect donations, do some sort of thing, to shout somebody's cause, whatever that may be, because they don't know how to do it otherwise. So when I first started, I did like, I helped sell tickets for a nonprofit's events. And I did their ads for them. And I was like, I did it from my page. And they ended up selling out very early, and it worked out really great. And I got in exchange a couple of tickets for their really fancy dinner, and that was great, But then I went into, okay, I'm going to help some entrepreneurs who have started these nonprofits, and they're tiny, they're really small, or I'm going to help an entrepreneur like Mike, the one who's blind. And so I raised money at a fundraiser, and I gave that money not to them directly, but I used it to help them to leverage something.
Yes.
And but then when the COVID-19 situation hit, I was like, this is really something. It's content that I personally have huge interest in. Because my past, before I started my Facebook advertising marketing business, I was an actuary. So I did all of the numbers for those curves. I did that for a living. I read them. I wrote stories out of them for big companies. I mean, believe it. You can believe it or not, you can tell stories out of those things. And so it became like this huge thing for me. And so I just started doing presentations. I taught a couple of schools, a couple of business groups about how to read the charts and what they were looking at and what was valid, what wasn't, how to discern the news, how to look at, what they needed to be able to tell what's real, what's not, and what it all meant. And that was completely different than talking about Facebook ads and marketing and all these other things. So here's my product over here, but this content has actually gotten me more work in the last couple of months than anything I've ever done before. So how could somebody in the e-commerce world create something out of a passionate subject or content that they have? How can they use that to be able to eventually sell their products?
That is the $1 million question. So I mean, a lot of people are, if they have to have an interest to do something else. So I have, my nose is running, sorry. I have a lot of we've got lots of allergy things going on. It's not COVID.
Yeah, I always say that. I cough and I'm like, it's not a dry cough.
Not COVID. And so first, and I have clients that are no interest in teaching anybody else. All they want to do is build a business, and it is a business. So unless they have like, okay, I need to build something else to move my business forward, there's not that urge, because building your e-commerce business is a totally different animal to, say, for instance, us that are teaching people how to do stuff, right? Because they, on a daily basis, they have to think about, they do shipping and they do buying, and they have to think, okay, so what else can I buy? What else can I take off? I'm constantly helping my clients taking their stuff down. Something's not working. Okay, taking their stuff down, moving the information around, putting their stuff up, and then thinking about, okay, so how are we going to advertise? And so the only way that I think that if you're in e-commerce, and so a lot of e-commerce clients are not blogging. So I hate to call it blogging because it's writing articles. And I hate to call that as well, but everybody goes, oh my God, I can't write anything. It is news. It is information that you need to give your customers. So first, what they don't do is they don't communicate with their customers. All they do is they sell. And then so they don't create that relationship afterwards. That's aftercare, that I call aftercare. So teaching them, okay, you need to add things, extra blocks to your business. So what I teach them literally is just to add more blocks to their business that can grow their business. And that is customer service. And, it's like, oh God, that's so boring. Customer service. But,
it matters though.
It is huge. So just a sample here. I do exchanges with my customers as well. I get free skincare. So, but she packs it beautifully, right? So her whole packaging is like an experience, right? Because everything's beautifully packed. You've got your 10% discount. She sends me a note, right? So a handwritten note, not something that she's printed out. It's a personal message to me. So as she says, those little bits take time, right? So as I said, in e-commerce, so you are shipping and you are thinking, okay, how am I going to get more customers? Then you have to set up your emails, which is hugely important to get those emails out, and then you need to blog and write information, and you've got to improve your site all the time. So there is not that amount of time to say, okay, I think I'm going to create this business here that is going to push my products. It's all part of the same bucket, where you're just putting extra little tools in that bring your customers back to your site, because that's the ultimate aim, is to bring those customers back to your site, entertaining them, right? And go away, because there are 3,000 of them coming in and only 30 buy if it's like 1% conversion. So you need to get those buggers back in again so they can come and have a look again. So the way you do is information, right? Or being funny, or performing on Facebook, or I don't know, posting cat videos.
One of my clients is an e-commerce client, and she actually has she sells elderberry syrup and bee pollen and preserves or something like that, all from recipes, not the bee pollen, but all from recipes that she made herself. And she's in a bunch of stores in the area. She's only been in business a little over a year, but she's ramping up the e-commerce, and she did more in e-commerce in the last couple of months than she did all of last year. So that was crazy. But she's just now getting into the whole situation where she's tacking on other things like landing pages and so on and so forth. And so are there any tools that you recommend from the Shopify people? Are there like 2 or 3 tools that you're like, you have to have these 2 or 3 or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. There's one tool that, and it's, Amazon has those, if you buy this, if bought together, you got to have that app. It gives that extra 10 to 20% conversion.
Which one does? Just doing Amazon? What?
No, like Amazon does. If you buy this, then you can get this and this for this amount of money.
Oh, right. The packaging.
Yeah, the packaging. But this is more like Amazon, where they have the one product plus the other product plus the other product. It's not like, buy one, but if you buy 2, this is a better deal. But if you buy 3, it's even a better deal.
Okay.
It's actually combining. And we just set it up on the one children's boutique, and I mean, she has is all random right now. So random stuff. I mean, she's got like 3,000 products, random stuff, you know, and she changes up all the time. And she's actually had sales just because of that. So when she starts manually enhancing, well, she knows her customers, right? If she manually enhances it, she's going to get more sales.
Yeah.
So that is an excellent, and obviously you have to have the reviews and everything. That's without saying.
Reviews, okay.
Yeah.
What about the landing page stuff? Is there software you have to add to it to make it the same website so that the URL doesn't change, or?
No, I think so. So with Shopify, you have a website, you have a blog, you have your store. It's all in one. So I always think that I've got to have this fan on me because I put my air conditioner off. It's hot here. It's in Houston.
Yeah, you're in Texas.
Yes, I know. It's starting to get very humid. But so, you know, so e-commerce and the landing page is your product page normally. So if you are going out selling your product, they should be landing on a product page. They shouldn't be landing on a collection page or your home page. It should be your product page, because it has to be very specific of what people are buying. Because if you're doing the advertising, then you're going to say, do you want this? And boom,
go get it. And there's no confusion.
No,
you don't land like if you're going to look at a coffee table, you're not going to land on the one with all the beds.
Yes. So you can do that in the store, because and then no sidebars or any distraction. You want people to buy. Mm-hmm. So the other landing page is a blog. Mm-hmm. You can create a landing page out of a blog and make it interesting, and add your products and add your CTAs on there. Mm-hmm. It's information. That's a landing page for because, you know, if you give people that want to shop too much options, they're going to
go away.
Boom, they're off. Yeah. So you really want to be very specific. So you have to be very specific. What do you want to do when people come to your website, right? Yeah. Do you want to get to know you? Then you go on your My Story page. You know, if it's a specific product, or if it's how do I use my product, then you have a video with the blog, right? How do I use my product? Link. So for e-commerce, people tend to think, I've got a landing page and I've got to do this, that. No. If you think about shopping, when you're shopping, if you don't land on that page, you get distracted. Mm-hmm. Because you go, oh, look at that. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this, right?
And you're not going to go searching.
You're not going to go searching, right? You're not going to. Mm-hmm. So, I have my boutique. She has flat lays where she has different products on it, and that every specific product goes to a product page, and that's how she sells. Mm-hmm. You know. Mm-hmm. So, but then she also has an established clientele. They know her. She's been in business for 10 years. So she knows her client, and she's now starting to get clients out of the state, which is very exciting for her, outside Houston, in fact, which is very exciting for her. But again, you know, so it depends, here again, it depends on what are you selling. Her clients are looking for that specific designer, right? All her products are designer. Somebody else, they're looking for something else again. Mm-hmm. Like my the one athletics lady. She has, they come for the t-shirt, but you know what? They will be interested in the pants, right? Or in the shorts, and in a headband or something. Right. So if she puts those together, so you got to really know who your customer is. Yeah. And, you know, that landing page is your product page, you know. And there are apps. There's an upsell app. I can't remember what it is now. Who sells it? Ezra Firestone sells it. It's a Shopify app. And you can create your page, just your page information in Shopify. But again, you know, there's so much costs to having a store besides, you know, your apps that you need and your options apps that you need, or maybe your upsell apps or downsell apps that you need, your emails that you have to pay for. You know, there's so many things that goes into your overhead. I like to keep things simple, really. You keep things simple, and your overheads, keep your overheads down, and start and sell more.
So what would be your advice to somebody who is struggling right now and really hasn't gone towards this e-commerce? What's the first thing they need to do? Call you?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello.
Call Veronica Jeans, everybody. VeronicaJeans.com.
So if you mean somebody who hasn't gone online yet.
Yeah, like maybe they're having to pivot a lot of things in their business and get something for sale online, because otherwise they've been maybe shipping things from their factory or whatever it may be, and they're just having to get into a whole different side of the business.
So Shopify is giving 90-day free trials as well.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes. So anybody can contact me, I will make sure that they get it. And then but it always takes a little bit longer. You know, I just finished my 5-day challenge, and somebody said, oh, I can set up Shopify in a day. And I go, you can set it up, but it's got nothing to do with your product photos and all this other stuff that you need.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more.
Write your story and write your product descriptions and all this other stuff. So my best advice is for somebody that wants to go online, start.
Just get started.
Start with one product. I don't care. Just start
and go
with
all the way
product.
through the process, so you know everything that goes with it, right? Because otherwise, you could just be putting a bunch of stuff up there, and then it's just junk because you don't have any descriptions, you don't have all of the categories right, you don't have all these little details that are really important.
Okay, so if you don't know what you want to sell, you got to test it, right? And see if people actually want to buy it, because not everything that we think people want, they're going to buy. So you got to do some testing, see what, go on Amazon and see what's the best products that are selling. Go on Etsy, see what's selling.
Oh, right? That's good to know. How do you know what's selling?
I think they have the best features, the best stores if you just go on Etsy.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the first couple of layers are ads, and then after that, those stores are selling because they are putting more into their advertising. They're putting more effort into their marketing and their SEO,
their product
and
groupings and all those.
Etsy is all about SEO, really, literally keywords. And then, I mean, Amazon is fabulous, so if you want to see what's selling on Amazon, test it. You can test it out on Amazon, see if it goes. You can actually sell your products through Shopify on Amazon. Test it out. I mean, you know what? I don't know what goes, people come to me with products and I go, let's set it up and see if it sells, and then take it for another year. Obviously if you're selling, but you're hitting a peak, there is something that's missing, then you have to reevaluate, but you really don't know. I had another question from some lady in Australia. She says, I've got these 100 glasses, sunglasses that are like Bluetooth, like the Bluetooth for your phone, which is amazing. So you can be cycling and exercising and with your sunglasses on and answering your phone. And so she has 100. But
because we need to do that, right? We need to multitask.
But listen here, everybody loves tools. I love gadgets. I love gadgets, right? So, but again, I don't know if it's going to sell or not. I said, put it up and see if it sells. I mean, that's all I can tell you. She ordered 100 before China closed. I said, I can't tell you if it sells or not. And it all depends again, is to grow your e-commerce store with everything else that you need to do. You're not going to go anywhere if you don't advertise.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the organic growth is 2% on Facebook and
it takes forever. I just tell people, I'm like, it's such a waste of time. You just need to figure out your paid path and make it work.
You got to advertise. You got to retarget. You got to remarket. You got to do ads.
Yeah.
I don't care how little it is. If you have $20 to spend in a month, you do those bloody ads, because you're not going to get any traction. And believe me, I don't do ads. I've started doing ads. So I started even doing ads, and I'm going, oh my gosh, no, I've got people popping in,
Yeah.
So so you have to, you just have to.
Well, I've got a client who helps a lot of people with comment sold. They use comment sold. Have you heard of that software? You can integrate Shopify with it, and it integrates with Facebook, and there's something to do. It's kind of like a chat feature. If somebody names a product or says a certain word in the comments underneath a Facebook post, then it connects them to the store on sold to buy. It's cool. I'm telling you, she was having trouble connecting it up with Facebook and making sure everything talked to each other. And so I was like, all right, let's get into here. We gotta troubleshoot this and figure it out, because I didn't know. I'd never used it before. But we figured it out because she had several clients who have it, and they have clothing stores. And that's how they sell. They literally put the clothes on and say, look at this, isn't it cute? I love how this does whatever, da 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 da. And it's like an auction, and people will comment below, and then the thing will sell out.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
So that is crazy. And so Facebook also is it's in beta in Shopify. Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace used to be like sold, my secondhand furniture.
Somebody's car
stuff
or whatever.
They're trying to turn that into an e-commerce option. It's not perfect right now because my puzzle lady went on. I mean, it was beta, so we jump on anything that's beta. We popped it on. She immediately got 11 sales. She lost a couple of sales, but she was not on. She didn't realize she had sales. So the communication between the software and Facebook, that's always a little bit iffy. Yeah. So you've got to keep your eye on it. And Shopify will bomb you out if you don't answer them in a certain amount of time. I can't remember. But she got sales from that. So you know what my advice as well is, sell on several different platforms. Marketing platforms. So Shopify is a shopping platform. BigCommerce, Magento is a shopping platform. But you got to sell on Amazon. You got to sell on eBay. You got to sell on maybe Etsy. Etsy doesn't anybody. Etsy is just Etsy. If you have handmade. Try BuzzFeed, Facebook. There's Messenger now as well. You can sell on Messenger. Have a chat, have a chat on your website so you can chat to your customers, right? Yeah. So just try out the shopping platforms, because you really, really don't know whether you're going to sell or not. I mean, literally, hopefully a prospective client is selling mainly wholesale, millions, okay? Mainly wholesale. So the margins are super, super slim. But they're selling a lot of stuff, right? Very small hair stuff.
Margin on the
margins
are small.
But they are selling, so they're selling wholesale. So they're selling on these different platforms where boutiques, right now it's not going to work that well, but it will, when you're going onto these wholesale platforms where you can actually sell your product, like a marketing. Several of my clients go to marketing events, to sell their products. So you got to get out there. It's like when you start an online store. It used to be you start a retail store and you sit, you go, okay, people, come on, walk in.
Yeah, if you walk in the door, but no, you've got to work on the e-commerce side of things.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with e-commerce. If you have an e-commerce and you don't do anything about it, it's a brochure. It's like a website. Yeah. If you don't do anything to get people to the website, it's a brochure, right? So you got to do something about it.
I call it an online file folder until you figure out what to do with it. Because otherwise you just
That
put
is
all the stuff
true.
you know up there on in your
Oh,
files and
yes, yes. And there's so many ways, people go, LinkedIn is brilliant. Not a lot of people have discovered it. Hello, these are people that are actually earning money that are on LinkedIn or maybe getting a job, So you've got to be on LinkedIn. Not everybody has money that's on Facebook. Although,
exactly.
we have to play with the big boys want us to play, but be on different platforms. Don't just be. I've had several customers that so Shopify or e-commerce or Magento, it's your own business. They don't control it. As I said to this friend that got spammed, I said they don't control the store. You can sell anything in Shopify. They can't tell you. Obviously, if you're selling, I don't know. No, you can sell alcohol and everything, but they can't tell you can't do that, right? They can't even tell you should have privacy things and terms and stuff. They can't tell you anything about your store. But Etsy, Amazon, Facebook, all
There's
these
rules
people
to follow. Yeah.
they can actually shut your store down. I've had a lady that made $150,000 a year. She woke up in the one morning and her store was closed. Her daughter's store, because she was an administrator, was closed as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you can't control your business, if you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, you got to make sure you have your own sandbox, right?
Yeah.
So from your own sandbox, you can go and play on everybody else's sandbox, right? Because that's where your customers are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many apps, that are good or not good. It depends on what you're going to sell, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So to wrap this up, what about your hopes for the future of this whole e-commerce thing and Shopify? Is there anything that with the COVID-19, what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, it's going to just skyrocket. It is just going to go absolutely nuts, I think. So, it's a good thing for me. It's not such a good thing if you're selling something. But if you want to sell something, you have to start now. Because when we're out of this and people have more money, because 30 million people out of work, and worldwide is even probably worse. When we're out of this, people have more money disposable. You already on that traction up where you're starting to attract customers and everything. You've already done your homework. You've already built your customer base, and you can only grow. But you have to do it now. You can't wait for this whole thing to disappear. And it is, we're going to look back at this in years to come and go, what, that 6 months that we had to stay at home, was a blip in our history, right? As we talk about everything else. So you've got to start now. In fact, I am going to start selling something online. I've always wanted to. This is how I got into this mess. Seriously. So I'm launching a book on how to set up a Shopify store, but I am actually going to start selling something. So I'm going to design something. I'm going to sell something. I'm just going to, so if you don't start something, I'm challenging everybody to start selling something online.
I might need to talk to you about that myself, because I've got a passion that I could easily talk about and write about and whatever all the time. And I think that I could parlay that into some sort of store. And so I really want to think about that.
Because, and you have hit the nail on the hammer on the nail, or whatever.
The nail on the head.
The nail on the head. Okay, I'm from Namibia, so it's a bit strange, So I've got like 3 languages I think about, 4 languages. But so if you're selling anything, you got to be passionate about it, because you have to talk about it. You have to persuade somebody to come and buy from you because you love your product. So, I mean, why not try? This is what I'm saying. Why not try? I've had several careers in my life, only because I'm always jumping in. If you're not going to try, you're going to look back and say, man, I should have tried that. Right?
And this would have been a great time to do it, right?
I'm telling you, I mean, we have the time right now. Things are in flux, you know. Our customers are sort of there and they're not there, and it's like, okay, so how are you going to get more customers is a problem, I think, for everybody, right? Because a lot of people are out of work, you know. Things are, and we're in an election year. It never goes well in an election year anyway. So the gas prices are down to $1.33 down here.
And I have an electric car, so.
Oh, you're lucky. But you know, so things are only going to get going next year, COVID or no COVID, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know what? You got to start. I mean, there's a lot of small businesses that are going to give in. And a lot of businesses going to start. You just got to be more dogged and more consistent and hang in there, baby, because the goods. You know what? When you wake up and you go ding ding ding, and you have that little sale, doesn't matter how much you've made. It's the most exciting thing to get.
Yeah, it is.
I make some affiliate stuff. And every now and again, I go to my husband, I made $17. I can buy a bottle of wine, you know? So, yeah. Anyway.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I've loved getting to know about your business and about what you see in this e-commerce world. And I love the fact that you're right in front of it because, I mean, this is the cutting edge way things are. And with the COVID-19 situation, we have to respond to what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, thank you
totally
so
agree.
much.
And we will chat. Thank you very much for having me on. I absolutely loved, and I can talk about this all day.
I know, me too. Love it. Thank you so much, Veronica. Bye. Thank you for listening today. Subscribe to this podcast to hear all our episodes. Go to shoutyourcause.com to our podcast page for information on our guests and notes from this show.